His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa participated in the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit, marking the agreement to end the war in Gaza. The summit was held in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt with the participation of Their Majesties, Highnesses and Excellencies, leaders and presidents of Arab states and heads of government. Upon His Majesty's arrival at the summit hall, President of Egypt Abdel Fattah al-Sisi welcomed His Majesty and thanked him for accepting the invitation to participate in the summit. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa had arrived in Egypt yesterday to lead Bahrain's delegation participating in the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit on the occasion of the agreement to end the war in Gaza. His Majesty's participation comes in response to an invitation received by His Majesty from the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The summit will be held in the city of Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, in the presence of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, patronized the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Council. Upon the arrival of His Majesty's motorcade at the Isa Cultural Center, accompanied by police cavalry, His Majesty the King was received by the Speaker of the Representatives Council, Ahmed Al-Msallam, and the Chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Al-Saleh.
على الشرف السلام لسيدي حضرة صاحب الجلالة الملك المعظم. سلام قف.
After the royal anthem was played, His Majesty the King proceeded to the main conference hall at Isa Cultural Center.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سيدي حضرة صاحب الجلالة الملك حمد بن عيسى آل خليفة ملك البلاد المعظم حفظه الله ورعاه، سيدي صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير سلمان بن حمد آل خليفة ولي العهد رئيس مجلس الوزراء حفظه الله ورعاه، أصحاب السمو، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، أيها السيدات والسادة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. يشرفنا أن نرحب بكم أجمل ترحيب في حفل افتتاح دور الانعقاد الرابع من الفصل التشريعي السادس لمجلسي الشورى والنواب. وخير ما نبدأ به تلاوة عطرة من القرآن الكريم يتلوها على مسامعنا القارئ.
The ceremony began with recitations of verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين. من جاء بالحسنة فله خير منها ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى الذين عملوا السيئات إلا ما كانوا يعملون. إن الذي فرض عليك القرآن لرادك إلى معاد قل ربي أعلم من جاء بالهدى ومن هو في ضلال مبين. وما كنت ترجو أن يلقى إليك الكتاب إلا رحمة من ربك فلا تكونن ظهيرا للكافرين. ولا يصدنك عن آيات الله بعد إذ أنزلت إليك وادع إلى ربك ولا تكونن من المشركين. ولا تدع مع الله إلها آخر لا إله إلا هو كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه له الحكم وإليه ترجعون. صدق الله العظيم. فيكم بارك.
His Majesty the King then delivered the following speech.
ملك البلاد المعظم حفظه الله ورعاه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. على بركة الله نفتتح أعمال دور الانعقاد الرابع من الفصل التشريعي السادس لأعمال السلطة التشريعية التي ننظر إلى أدائها بعين الفخر والتقدير، وهي تمارس أصول العمل التشريعي والرغابي وتنهض بمسؤولياتها الدستورية لمواكبة طموحاتنا الوطنية بالبناء على هذه التجربة المتميزة التي تعود جذورها إلى عهد أجدادنا قادة مملكة البحرين الذين عملوا على إرساء مبادئ وقيم نظام الحكم المبنية على الشريعة الإسلامية القراء والشورى والعدل والإحسان والتضحية في سبيل الوطن ومراعاة العادات والتقاليد الأصيلة. ولقد كانت هذه المبادئ والقيم وصايا قادة مملكة البحرين لأولياء عهودهم طبقة بعد طبقة، حيث وضعت القواعد التي بني عليها ميثاق العمل الوطني وما ترتب عليه من تعديلات دستورية في عهدنا هذا. كان أهمها نظام المجلسين وتحقيق مبدأ الفصل بين السلطات وعودة الحقوق السياسية للمرأة واستكمال بناء المؤسسات الدستورية. وتظل هذه المبادئ الأصيلة منهاجاً لحياتنا وجزءاً لا يتجزأ من ثقافتنا الحامية للسيادة. ويطيب لنا ونحن نمضي قدماً ضمن مسيرتنا التنموية الشاملة أن نعرب لكم عن ارتياحنا لسير العمل المشترك بين السلطتين التشريعية والتنفيذية، وبإشراف مباشر من قبل صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير سلمان بن حمد آل خليفة ولي العهد ورئيس مجلس الوزراء، وما يثمر عن هذا التعاون الذي نقدر فيه جهود الإخوة رئيسي مجلس الشورى والنواب وجميع الأعضاء من إنجازات تشريعية نوعية تلبي التطلعات الوطنية، لتكون من بينها قرب الانتهاء من إقرار التعديلات على قانون تنظيم الصحافة والطباعة والنشر، باعتباره خطوة مهمة تؤكد القيمة الدستورية لحرية الرأي والتعبير في مملكة البحرين، وتعزز المكانة الرفيعة لإعلامنا الوطني بمختلف وسائله. كما ونؤكد على أهمية استكمال التشريعات اللازمة، وفي مقدمتها ما يتعلق بتعزيز الأمن وتطوير الاقتصاد كي نعزز تنافسية بلادنا المتقدمة على مستوى العالم. ونود أن ننوه في هذا الخصوص بالمبادرة الهامة التي أعلن عنها صاحب السمو الملكي ولي العهد رئيس مجلس الوزراء، والموجهة لأبنائنا وبناتنا من الباحثين عن فرص عمل وظيفية وما تشتمل عليه من تسهيلات ضرورية تفتح أمامهم المزيد من الخيارات الوظيفية. كما نتوجه بالشكر الجزيل لغرفة تجارة وصناعة البحرين وكافة الشركات والمؤسسات الداعمة لهذا التوجه، ونتطلع إلى تحقيق الاستفادة القصوى من هذه المبادرة الهادفة إلى رفع مستويات المشاركة الوطنية في سوق العمل. الأخوة والأخوات، ولأن التقدم لا يتحقق إلا بقراءة واعية لمعطيات المستقبل ومواجهة تحولاته والاستفادة من فرصه، وهو ما درجنا عليه كنهج ثابت منذ قيام الدولة البحرينية الحديثة. فإننا نوجه باعتماد التوجيهات التالية ضمن أولويات العمل القادمة، ونبدأ بجانب العناية بالهوية الوطنية بما تشمله من مبادئ وقيم معنوية وممارسات أصيلة ترتبط بالإنسان البحريني، وكان لها أبلغ الأثر في بناء قوتها الحضارية المتجددة وقدرة الفائقة على التعلم من دروس التاريخ. وأهم هذه الدروس إعلاء الهوية الوطنية وتعزيز الوحدة الجامعة لكل أطيافه، ورفض مظاهر التعصب والكراهية والولاءات الخارجية، ولله الحمد. أما ثاني تلك التوجهات وهو ضرورة التركيز على مسار التطور العلمي والمعرفي المؤدي إلى التمكين والتنويع الصناعي والإنتاج باعتباره رافداً أساسياً للنمو الاقتصادي المنشود لتقليل اعتماده على مصادره التقليدية، إذ يهمنا أن تراعى توجهات العمل المستقبلية ما تتمتع به البحرين من متانة صناعية حديثة وبيئة خدمية عصرية لابد من استثمارها وتنويع مساراتها، سواء على صعيد التقدم التكنولوجي ومن خلال التوظيف الأمثل لتقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي الذي بدأ بالفعل، وخصوصاً في مجالات التعليم والصحة والتصنيع والتنمية الحضرية، أو عبر الاستثمار المركز في مجال الطاقة المتجددة، أو باستكشاف الفرص المتاحة في الفضاء الخارجي لتطوير كافة القطاعات الحيوية وصولاً إلى الاستقلالية المطلوبة لحفظ وتنمية ثرواتنا الوطنية، وفي مقدمتها استدامة البيئة الفطرية والزراعية والمحافظة على مواردنا البحرية، وعلى وجه التحديد تجارة اللؤلؤ الطبيعي التي جعلت اسم البحرين مرادفاً للؤلؤ الأصيل في كل مكان في العالم وفي كل سجل للتاريخ. ولا يفوتنا عند الحديث عن الحاضر والمستقبل أن نثني على سهامات الكوادر البحرينية الشابة التي تحظى باهتمام ومتابعة سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد آل خليفة، ولعل أهمها الإطلاق الناجح للقمر الصناعي البحريني برمزيته الدالة على سلامة الخطط والبرامج التي تعتني بالتنافسية العلمية والمعرفية استعداداً لغد الوطن المشرق بإذن الله. فهؤلاء الشباب بإنجازاتهم العالمية يؤكدون جاهزيتهم للإسهام في قيادة الحاضر والمستقبل، ويستحقون فرص المشاركة في العمل والتدريب وتحمل المسؤولية لنحافظ على تواصل الأجيال في حمل رسالة الوطن النبيلة. الإخوة والأخوات، تواصل مملكة البحرين جهودها لإحلال السلام العادل والشامل باعتباره ضرورة لا غنى عنها لاستعادة أمن المنطقة واستقرارها. وفي هذا الشأن نعرب عن تقديرنا للجهود الدولية المبذولة لتحقيق هذا الهدف، ونشيد بالدور التاريخي لفخامة الرئيس دونالد ترامب رئيس الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية الصديقة وجهود الوسطاء في وقف الحرب في غزة، ونحث جميع الأطراف على الوفاء بالتزاماتها لتعزيز السلام. وستظل القضية الفلسطينية في صدارة أولويات المملكة خلال عضويتها غير الدائمة في مجلس الأمن للعامين القادمين. ونؤكد دعمنا الثابت لحل الدولتين واستعادة الحقوق المشروعة للشعب الفلسطيني باعتباره السبيل الأمثل لتحقيق الأمن والازدهار الذي تستحقهما المنطقة. فأمتنا العربية والإسلامية التي احتضنت الأديان السماوية والثقافات المختلفة تمثل نموذجاً للحياة الإنسانية العادلة، ونتطلع إلى أن تنعم بالرخاء الذي يليق بتاريخها المجيد. ولأن التنمية الحقيقية لا تستقيم إلا بإرساء الأمن الشامل كضمان لاستمرار الحياة والعمل والإنتاج، فإننا نعتبر قواتنا الدفاعية والأمنية ركيزة أساسية لتنميتنا، ونحرص على أن تتسلح بأحدث الإمكانيات وأعلى المهارات لتقوم بمهامها في حماية مكتسباتنا وسيادتنا الوطنية. وعلى رأسهم القائد العام المشير أخينا الشيخ خليفة بن أحمد آل خليفة، فله منا ولهم كل الثناء والتقدير. وفي ختام حديثنا نعود لما بدأنا به، وهو الفخر والاعتزاز بمنجزات الوطن الحضارية، ونحمد الله على نعمه الجزيرة، وأولها الإنسان البحريني الذي نعده ثروة بلادنا الحقيقية ووجهها المتحضر والمشرق بالعطاء أينما حضر. فبإسهاماته المتواصلة والجادة استطاع أن يجعل من البحرين وجهة للخير والسلام ومركزاً للإبداع والريادة، ليبقى صيته رمزاً للأخلاق الكريمة والقيم النبيلة. كل ذلك يضع الأولوية لأهل البحرين في الخدمات والمستحقات، سائلين الله للجميع التوفيق والنجاح، ولكم منا كل الدعم لحفظ الأمانة الوطنية من أجل رفعة البحرين وعزتها. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
صاحب الجلالة أيها الحضور الكريم، يلقي الآن معالي السيد أحمد بن سلمان المسلم رئيس مجلس النواب هذه الكلمة.
The Speaker of the Representative Council then delivered a speech in which he expressed gratitude for His Majesty's patronage of the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term. He said that the event marks a new phase of parliamentary work based on constitutional norms and national customs, drawing on the noble values and authentic principles of Bahrain under the prosperous era of His Majesty the King, in a comprehensive and sustainable development process. Al-Musallam expressed pride and appreciation for the distinguished national experience, whose civilizational features and foundations were shaped by the country's leaders. He added that His Majesty's era guided Bahrain towards modernization, sustainable development, and achieved unprecedented levels of progress and prosperity. He affirmed the pride and unwavering commitment to national unity, which constitute the force of democratic development. Al-Musallam also affirmed his keenness to work with determination towards consolidating the authentic Bahraini identity derived from loyalty to the homeland based on the principles of the National Action Charter and Bahrain's constitution to build a proud nation that is increasingly prosperous and advanced, in which the Bahraini citizen always remains at the forefront of development. Al-Musallam expressed gratitude and appreciation to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for strengthening cooperation between the government and the legislative authority. He added that His Royal Highness's follow-up have left a clear impact on the continued launch of qualitative projects and initiatives that serve the nation and its citizens, developing work and services, increasing economic growth and attracting promising investments, and activating strategic partnership with the private sector. He added that these efforts aim to provide quality job opportunities for Bahraini youth and raise the standard of living for Bahraini families to achieve the desired goals and objectives. Al-Musallam affirmed his support for the initiative of His Royal Highness to offer 3 job opportunities to every job seeker registered with the Ministry of Labour in fulfillment of His Majesty's aspirations to make the citizen the ultimate goal and objective of development. He commended the constructive cooperation of the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry and all private sector institutions in providing quality job opportunities for national cadres and preparing them for the labour market. He affirmed commitment to the close cooperation with the executive authority in implementation of the royal directives and in response to the national aspirations. He affirmed keenness to double the efforts to develop the legislative system according to modern and advanced methodologies that are in line with His Majesty's vision of promoting responsible freedom of opinion and expression, out of belief in the role of national media and its noble mission. Al-Musallam affirmed determination to align legislative work with national directives to stimulate innovation in the industrial sector and expand production in support of economic diversification through effective investment in modern technological means and their application in all fields that achieve progress and prosperity. He also praised the vital and prominent role played by the Supreme Council for Women headed by Her Royal Highness, the wife of His Majesty the King and President of the Supreme Council for Women, Princess Abika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, which has become a key component of sustainable development. Al-Musallam commended the efforts of the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and his qualitative achievements in the youth and sports sector at regional and international forums. He expressed appreciation for His Highness's interest and follow-up in the launch of the Bahraini satellite, which represents a bright step towards a bright scientific future. The Speaker also affirmed that the Legislative Authority will focus on parliamentary diplomacy to promote Gulf cooperation, enhance Arab unity, strengthen Islamic coordination, and deepen relations with friendly nations globally. These commitments aim to solidify Bahrain's role as a proactive contributor to regional security, peace, and international coexistence. He welcomed the agreement for a ceasefire in Gaza, expressing hope for a comprehensive peace process and steadfast support for the two-state solution, ultimately restoring the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people and fostering regional development and stability for future generations. He acknowledged the valiant sacrifices of the Palestinian people and hailed their resilience to ensure a global recognition of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. He expressed pride in the exceptional contributions and sacrifices of the BDF, the National Guard, the Ministry of Interior, and all security institutions, hailing their continuous efforts towards the kingdom's advancements, reinforcing Bahrain's dedication to security, development, and prosperity under His Majesty's leadership. Al-Msallam reiterated loyalty and allegiance to His Majesty the King and wished him lasting good health and happiness.
صاحب الجلالة، ونحن على مشارف نهاية الفصل التشريعي السادس، فإن خطاب جلالتكم السامي اليوم سيكون نبراساً لعملنا البرلماني ومنهجاً نسترشد به في تحديد أولويات المرحلة المقبلة بالبناء على الإنجازات التي تحققت خلال أدوار العقاد الماضية من هذا الفصل، مؤكدين لجلالتكم حرصنا على التعاون الوثيق مع السلطة التنفيذية ترجمة للتوجيهات الملكية السامية وتلبية للتطلعات الوطنية عبر مواصلة الجهود المكثفة لتطوير المنظومة التشريعية وفق منهجيات عصرية متطورة تتناسب مع متطلبات الوقت الراهن، وتكرس رؤية جلالتكم الحكيمة في تعزيز حرية الرأي والتعبير المسؤولة إيمانا بدور الإعلام الوطني ورسالته النبيلة. كما نؤكد لجلالتكم أيدكم الله عزمنا على موائمة عملنا التشريعي مع التوجهات الوطنية لمضاعفة المساعي لتحفيز الابتكار في المجال الصناعي وتكثيف مجالات الإنتاج، دعماً للتنويع الاقتصادي واستشرافاً للتوجيهات المستقبلية من خلال الاستثمار الفعال للوسائل التكنولوجية الحديثة وتطويعها في كافة المجالات التي تحقق للوطن التقدم والازدهار. صاحب الجلالة، أن الدور الحيوي البارز الذي يقوم به المجلس الأعلى للمرأة برئاسة صاحب السمو الملكي الأميرة سبيكة إبراهيم آل خليفة قرينة الملك المعظم رئيسة المجلس الأعلى للمرأة حفظها الله، أصبح جزءاً رئيسياً ومرتكزاً أساسياً للتنمية المستدامة التي تترجم رؤية جلالتكم من أجل تقدم المرأة البحرينية. كما نثمن جهود سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد آل خليفة ممثل جلالة الملك للأعمال الإنسانية وشؤون الشباب رئيس المجلس الأعلى للشباب والرياضة، وما حققه سموه من إنجازات نوعية في المجالات الشبابية والرياضية في المحافل الإقليمية والدولية، مقدرين اهتمام ومتابعة سموه في إطلاق القمر الصناعي البحريني الذي يمثل خطوة مضيئة نحو مستقبل علمي مشرق. صاحب الجلالة، انطلاقا من السياسة الدبلوماسية الحكيمة بقيادة جلالتكم حفظكم الله ورعاكم وإرث مملكة البحرين التاريخي والحضاري وقيمها الإنسانية، فإننا نؤكد التزامنا في السلطة التشريعية واستنارة بالرؤية المستديدة لجلالتكم تسخير جهود الدبلوماسية البرلمانية بدعم العمل الخليجي المشترك وتطوير التعاون العربي وتوطيد التنسيق الإسلامي وتعزيز العلاقات مع دول العالم الصديقة بما يخدم المصالح العليا للوطن ويرسخ مكانته الرائدة كشريك فاعل في إرساء الأمن والسلم وتحقيق التعايش الإقليمي والدولي في إطار مجتمعات مستقرة ومزدهرة. ونؤكد في هذا السياق الترحيب بالاتفاق الذي تم التوصل إليه بشأن وقف الحرب على قطاع غزة مع تطلع إلى تهيئة مسار سلام شامل وعادل والدعم الثابت لقرار حل الدولتين واستعادة الحقوق المشروعة للشعب الفلسطيني وتحقيق الأمن والاستقرار والتنمية والازدهار للمنطقة ومستقبلها وأجيالها القادمة، معربين عن اعتزازنا وتقديرنا بالصمود الأسطوري للشعب الفلسطيني الشقيق وتضحياته الجسيمة برجاله ونسائه وشيوخه وأطفاله من أجل استعادة حقوقه المغتصبة. هذه التضحيات التي أجبرت العديد من دول العالم مؤخراً على الاعتراف بالدولة الفلسطينية المستقلة وعاصمتها القدس الشرقية، حيث لم يعد ذلك حلماً بعيد المنال بل واقعاً ملموساً فرضه صمود هذا الشعب وإصراره على الحياة والحرية. معربين عن بالغ اعتزازنا بالجهود الكبيرة والجاهزية الشاملة والتضحيات العظيمة لجنودنا البواسل في قوة دفاع البحرين والحرس الوطني ووزارة الداخلية وكافة الأجهزة الأمنية، والشكر والتقدير إلى كافة الكوادر البحرينية في مختلف المواقع والمؤسسات الذين يواصلون العمل والإنجاز بكل إخلاص وتفان وإبداع وابتكار من أجل رفعة مملكة البحرين. ختاماً نجدد لجلالتكم حفظكم الله ورعاكم كل العهد والولاء، سائلين الله العلي القدير أن يديم على مملكة البحرين الأمن والأمان والتطور والازدهار في ظل رعايتكم جلالتكم الكريمة وتوجيهاتكم الملكية السامية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
The ceremony concluded with the royal anthem. His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister were then bid farewell. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a cable of congratulations from Her Royal Highness, the wife of His Majesty the King and President of the Supreme Council for Women, Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, on the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Council. Her Royal Highness praised His Majesty the King's speech, which affirmed the principles and values upon which the National Action Charter is based and the pioneering achievements that have resulted from it, most notably the restoration of political rights to Bahraini women. Her Royal Highness affirmed that the progress and advancements achieved by Bahraini women during the prosperous reign of His Majesty the King is a source of pride for every Bahraini woman and embodies the support they receive from His Majesty the King. Her Royal Highness expressed pride in the remarkable achievements of Bahraini women in various fields and at all levels, thanks to His Majesty's vision and guidance, affirming her commitment to continue working in accordance with His Majesty's directives to achieve further gains and ensure the sustainability of Bahraini women's achievements. Her Royal Highness prayed to Allah the Almighty to grant His Majesty abundant health and happiness. The President of the Supreme Council for Women, wife of His Majesty the King, Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, commended the speech of the Speaker of the Council of Representatives, Ahmed Al Msallam, during the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Representative and Shura Council, noting its strong national message to meet the vision of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa for continued progress and prosperity in Bahrain. She highlighted the Representative Speaker's recognition of the Supreme Council of Women as a key contributor to sustainable development that reflects the vision of His Majesty the King. Her Royal Highness reiterated the Council's commitment to achieving further accomplishments in national development, in collaboration with the legislative authority, and to strengthen joint efforts for the benefit of Bahraini women. The Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa chaired the weekly cabinet meeting held at Qudaybiya Palace. The cabinet commended the address delivered by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa during the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Council. In his address, His Majesty welcomed the progress of joint efforts between the legislative and executive branches. The cabinet reaffirmed that cooperation between the legislative and executive branches is a cornerstone of Bahrain's constitutional system, built on values upheld for generations by the kingdom's leadership. The cabinet emphasized the kingdom's commitment to economic recovery and financial sustainability in line with royal directives, ensuring support for eligible beneficiaries, particularly in essential services for Bahraini citizens. The cabinet noted that the allocation of support will be carried out in coordination with the legislative authority. The cabinet outlined that the royal directives guide the government's work streams, ensuring that citizens receive the highest quality of services and remain the top priority. The cabinet commended the winners of the 2025 UNESCO King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa Prize for the use of information and communication technologies in education, reaffirming that His Majesty's continued support strengthened the prize's standing over its more than 20-year history. The cabinet also reviewed a report submitted by the Minister of Education in this regard. The cabinet congratulated Egypt on the election of its candidate as Director General of UNESCO. The cabinet emphasized that this historic achievement reflects the international community's appreciation for Egypt's effective foreign policy under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah Sisi. The cabinet reviewed the progress of implementing His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister's directives to the Ministry of Labour to provide 3 job opportunities for every registered Bahraini job seeker before the end of the year. This aligns with the vision of His Majesty the King to facilitate opportunities for citizens across sectors. The cabinet expressed gratitude to the Ministry of Labour for its efforts in conducting 7,888 interviews for job seekers registered with the ministry since the issuance of the directives. The cabinet also extended its appreciation to the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry for its role in facilitating job opportunities. The cabinet encouraged national companies and private sector institutions to support the National Employment Platform at the Ministry of Labour by providing job opportunities for the citizens. The cabinet followed up on the procedures taken to implement the directives of His Royal Highness to establish the innovation competition in irrigation solutions aimed at enhancing the use of excess treated water across agriculture and afforestation initiatives. The competition also seeks to ensure resource sustainability, preserve the environment, and raise environmental awareness. The cabinet commended the positive nationwide participation in this year's National Tree Week, which was launched by His Royal Highness. The cabinet highlighted the significance of the initiatives that empower Bahraini youth and commended the role of Tamkeen, chaired by the Minister of the Prime Minister's Court and Chairman of Tamkeen's Board of Directors, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, in fostering opportunities for the citizens and supporting programs that enhance Bahrain's skilled workforce and promotes entrepreneurship as a top priority in the labor market. The cabinet commended the kingdom's hosting of FinTech Forward 2025, during which 38 agreements and memoranda of understanding were signed across the financial services sector. This reflects the kingdom's capabilities in strengthening international cooperation in financial technology and related fields. The cabinet welcomed Bahrain's pavilion titled Connecting Seas for winning the Gold Award for Best Architecture and Landscape in the Self-Built Pavilions category at Expo 2025 Osaka in Japan, presented by the Bureau International des Expositions. The cabinet also praised the efforts of the President of the Bahrain Authority for Culture and Antiquities and all the authority's personnel, whose relentless dedication led to this honorable achievement. The cabinet commended the kingdom's digital projects that won awards at the GCC Digital Government Awards, emphasizing that this achievement reflects Bahrain's commitment to advancing government services and driving digital innovation. The cabinet welcomed the inclusion of the University of Bahrain in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings for the first time since its establishment in 1986, stressing that this milestone reflects the kingdom's progress in the educational sector and the global recognition of the university's academic programs. The cabinet reviewed a report submitted by the Minister of Education in this regard. Marking Bahraini Engineers Day, the cabinet commended the role played by the kingdom's engineers and congratulated them for their contributions to the kingdom's development. The cabinet underscored that the agreement to end the war in the Gaza Strip makes a historic day of peace for the Middle East and the world. The cabinet expressed the kingdom's gratitude for the efforts of U.S. President Donald Trump, underscoring the importance of all parties to the conflict, honoring their commitments and responsibilities to ensure its full implementation, as well as the efforts of mediators in reaching the agreement. The cabinet then approved the following memoranda. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Development and Infrastructure Projects regarding the request to publish Bahrain's third nationally determined contribution report under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding a draft decision to amend certain provisions of the executive regulations of the real estate registration law. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding the Cairo Call to Action on Breast Cancer, Advancing Equity and Innovation, and the Amman Declaration scheduled for adoption during the 8th session of the Islamic Conference of Health Ministers, held under the theme Health, Our Shared Responsibility in Jordan. A memorandum submitted by the Minister of Cabinet Affairs, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Education and Training Quality Authority, regarding the approval of the authority's reports. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding the government's response to several proposed laws and recommendations submitted by the Council of Representatives. The Cabinet then reviewed a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Development and Infrastructure Projects regarding the performance of the Electricity and Water Authority during the summer of 2025. The Cabinet then reviewed the following ministerial reports on the outcomes of the Kingdom's participation in the 26th meeting of the Ministerial Committee tasked with a follow-up on the implementation of decisions related to joint action. The Kingdom's participation in the International Union for Conservation of Nature World Conservation Congress, the Kingdom's participation in the Global Rail Transport Infrastructure Exhibition and Conference, the Kingdom's participation in the 13th Energy Market Forum, the Kingdom's participation in the Maritime Cyprus Conference, the outcome of the Kingdom's participation in the 29th GCC Ministerial Meeting for Communication and Postal Affairs, the Kingdom's participation in the 35th meeting of the GCC Ministers of Justice, the Kingdom's participation in the 11th Ministerial Meeting of officials responsible for Islamic affairs and endowment in the GCC, the Kingdom's participation in Urbanism, Housing and Construction Expo and Conference, the opening of Bahrain's Polytechnic's new campus in Delmonia Island in the Muharraq Governorate, the World Bank report on the Bahrain Teachers College. The Minister of the Prime Minister's Court, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, yesterday met with the Minister of Interior and Chairman of the Ministerial Committee for Information and Communication Technology, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, at the Ministry of the Interior. This meeting aligns with the vision of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and part of the government's priorities framework endorsed by the Cabinet and overseen by the Government Executive Committee chaired by His Royal Highness. His Highness discussed the Ministry's progress in implementing digital transformation initiatives that support Bahrain's objectives of enhancing public services and meeting citizens' needs more effectively. He highlighted Bahrain's advancements in technical infrastructure, noting its efficiency and capacity as essential to the kingdom's comprehensive development. His Highness emphasized that digital transformation is crucial for Bahrain's progress, enhancing government service efficiency, effectiveness, and security. He also pointed out that adopting innovative technology solutions fosters creativity and drives development, harnessing the potential of the latest technologies and smart systems. The Interior Minister expressed gratitude for His Highness's visit and praised the efforts to improve government services for citizens and residents. These initiatives contribute to Bahrain's comprehensive development under the leadership of His Majesty and with the support of His Royal Highness, positioning Bahrain as a leader in digital transformation. The government's priorities framework serves as a strategic roadmap, intensifying efforts and directing resources towards initiatives that benefit citizens who are the cornerstone of Bahrain's progress. These programs aim to promote growth and prosperity across all sectors, aligned with the objectives of Bahrain's comprehensive development. The Minister of the Prime Minister's Court, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, met with the 10th intake of the Prime Minister's Fellowship Program at Gdaybiyah Palace. His Highness highlighted Bahrain's ongoing achievements and development driven by the far-reaching vision of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. His Highness affirmed that empowering the national workforce and enhancing their contributions across government institutions remains a cornerstone of Bahrain's development strategy, in line with Team Bahrain's united efforts to drive progress. His Highness emphasized that investing in Bahraini professionals is vital to enhancing and advancing sustainable development and supporting the delivery of quality government services. His Highness commended the dedication, professionalism, and sense of national responsibility demonstrated by the fellows, commending their commitment to excellence in serving the kingdom. His Highness also expressed appreciation to all those involved in the continued success of the Prime Minister's Fellowship Program, noting its role in preparing future leaders and enhancing governmental performance. His Highness reiterated that developing the national workforce remains a priority, reflecting confidence in the capabilities and potential of Team Bahrain. For their part, the members of the 10th intake expressed their gratitude for His Highness's commitment to the development of the national workforce, reaffirming their dedication to the kingdom's ongoing development and to serving Bahrain's citizens. The Council of Representatives, presided by its Speaker Ahmed Al-Msallam, yesterday held its first procedural session of the 4th regular annual session of the 6th legislative term. Al-Msallam expressed appreciation to His Majesty the King for inaugurating the 4th session of the 6th legislative term. He praised the royal patronage of the Council and the unlimited support for the legislative authority and the cooperation with the executive authority to serve the country and its citizens. He expressed pride and appreciation for the royal speech regarding the development of national action plans for the coming phase. The Speaker also expressed appreciation to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for his support to achieve the royal aspirations, supporting the growth of the national economy and vital initiatives to provide quality job opportunities and improve living standards. The Speaker of the Council of Representatives, Ahmed Al-Msallam, affirmed that the royal speech delivered by His Majesty the King during the inauguration of the 4th session of the legislative term number 6 of the Shura and Representative Councils constitutes a national approach for priorities for action plans for the next phase. Al-Msallam pointed out that the royal speech reflects His Majesty's insightful vision for the future and represents a roadmap towards achieving the sustainable development goals of Bahrain by adopting the royal directives as part of the upcoming work priorities. This will be a joint track between the legislative and executive branches to achieve national aspirations. And Chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Al-Saleh, yesterday presided over the first procedural session of the fourth regular session of the sixth legislative term. The chairman expressed thanks and appreciation to His Majesty the King for inaugurating the fourth session of the sixth legislative term. This was followed by the election of the first Deputy Speaker of the Shura Council, with Jamal Muhammad Fakhro being nominated for the position. The second Deputy Speaker of the Shura Council was also elected, with Dr. Jihad Abdullah Al-Fadl being nominated for the position. Al-Saleh then informed the members that a committee will be selected from among the members of the council to prepare a draft response to the royal speech. And the chairman of the Shura Council, Mr. Ali Al-Saleh, affirmed that the speech delivered by His Majesty the King at the inauguration of the fourth session of the sixth legislative term of the Shura Council and Representative Council embodies His Majesty's vision and approach, as well as the aspirations of His Majesty that outline a bright future and set priorities for national action. He expressed appreciation for His Majesty's continued support and praise for the work of the Legislative Authority, pledging to His Majesty to continue working under His Majesty's leadership in support of the reform and modernization process in light of the prosperous era of His Majesty to achieve the interest of the Bahrain and its loyal people. The Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa met with the head of the Civil Service Bureau of Kuwait, Dr. Isam Saad Al-Rubayyan, on the occasion of his visit to Bahrain. Present in the meeting were the President of the Civil Service Bureau, Sheikh Daij bin Salman bin Daij Al Khalifa, and the Director General of the Institute of Public Administration, Dr. Sheikh Rana bint Isa bin Daij Al Khalifa. The Deputy Prime Minister emphasized that the mutual visit enhances expertise, invests in shared capabilities, and disseminate successful experiences. He affirmed that the fraternal relations between Bahrain and Kuwait embodies the depth of the close ties between the two countries, which have been strengthened thanks to the support they receive from His Majesty the King and His Highness the Emir of Kuwait. The Deputy Prime Minister praised the advanced level of Bahraini-Kuwaiti relations given the shared commitment to develop them. He emphasized that the importance of building on these achievements to consolidate existing cooperation, to serve the shared goals of both countries and peoples, and to support the joint path of action by the Gulf states, particularly in civil service and public administration. The Deputy Prime Minister called for expanding areas of cooperation to include the exchange of trainees between the institutes of public administration in the two countries. He pointed to Bahrain's achievements in developing civil service systems and the digital transformation in human resources management. Dr. Al-Rubayyan commended Bahrain's commitment to develop the civil service system and human resources, stressing the commitment to continuing joint work and coordination to enhance integration in developing national competencies. In line with the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa to launch this year's Tree Week, the Minister of Interior General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa yesterday planted a tree at the Special Security Forces Compound Headquarters in Safra, accompanied by the Governor of the Southern Governorate, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Ali Al Khalifa. The initiative supports the National Afforestation Plan, which aims to plant 3.6 million trees by 2035, in line with Bahrain's goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. The Minister emphasized the importance of protecting the environment and increasing public awareness of tree planting as part of Bahrain's commitment to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. He noted the Ministry's efforts to expand green spaces at its facilities, support environmental initiatives, and strengthen social responsibility. He added that the Ministry continues to promote volunteer work and cooperation with the relevant entities while implementing initiatives that encourage eco-friendly practices and greater environmental awareness in the community. The Minister of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture, Engineer Wael Al-Mubarak, participated in National Tree Week by planting trees in Zayed Town alongside ministry officials and specialists. He affirmed that the initiative supports Bahrain's National Action Plan to achieve carbon neutrality, launched under the directive of His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, to promote environmental protection and expand green spaces. Minister Al-Mubarak highlighted that environmental sustainability is a key national priority within the government's plan of 2023-2026, noting Bahrain's efforts to align its policies with sustainable development goals to preserve the natural resources and enhance the quality of life. He added that Tree Week supports the National Afforestation Plan, which aims to increase the number of trees to 3.6 million by 2035, in line with Bahrain's COP26 commitments. He said that the ministry is implementing joint initiatives with government and private entities to expand tree planting in public facilities and residential areas and to raise environmental awareness. In line with the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, the Minister of Oil and Environment and Special Envoy for Climate Affairs, Dr. Mohammed bin Mubarak bin Daina, participated in National Tree Week, launched by planting trees at Dawhat Arad Park and Reserve. The Minister noted the importance of continuing to implement initiatives aimed at expanding green spaces in Bahrain by applying the best environmental practices and increasing reliance on treated water for irrigation. The initiative supports Bahrain's National Afforestation Plan, which aims to plant 3.6 million trees by 2035 as part of the Kingdom's vision to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour, Yusuf Khalaf, affirmed that Bahrain continues to consolidate its approach based on investing in Bahraini human resources as the cornerstone of the development by promoting human development, which will ensure Bahraini citizens' effective integration into the labor market and enable them to contribute to building a more competitive and sustainable national economy. He praised the speech of His Majesty the King during the inauguration of the 4th session of the legislative 6th term of the Shura and Representative Council, in which His Majesty praised the important initiative announced by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, aimed at job seekers and the necessary facilities it includes that opens up more job options for the citizens. The Minister affirmed that this royal praise reflects the keenness to promote the employment opportunities for the citizens. He also noted that the royal speech is a beacon that charts the course for the coming phase towards further progress. The Minister explained that since His Royal Highness's directives were issued, the Ministry of Labour began taking the necessary executive measures to achieve them. He said that 7,888 interviews were conducted with the job seekers registered with the Ministry in preparation for facilitating their access to job opportunities that match their qualifications and aspirations. The Minister noted that the working groups are continuing to implement the leadership's directives and fulfill citizens' aspirations for job stability and achieve participation in the labour market. The royal speech delivered by His Majesty the King during the opening of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Representatives and Shura Councils received widespread praise due to its clear roadmap for the future of national work. More details in this report.
The royal speech delivered by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa during the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Representatives and Shura Councils laid out a clear roadmap for the future of national work, particularly in the legislative field. His Majesty highlighted comprehensive national priorities, ambitious developmental directions, and exceptional initiatives that contribute to shaping the next phase of the kingdom's future. In his royal speech, His Majesty set clear national priorities for the coming period, based on the principles of consultation and justice, focusing on completing legislation supporting national security and the economy, enhancing competitiveness, and providing job opportunities. The royal vision offers a comprehensive approach to an advanced legislative and developmental phase, built upon a strong constitutional heritage, enhancing the kingdom's civilizational structure and giving attention to Bahraini youth as a genuine national asset, while also enhancing legislative performance and emphasizing the importance of continuing to build on national achievements, strengthening authentic Bahraini identity, and ensuring unity among all components of society.
The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor Yusuf Khalaf announced that Gulf Air has added 400 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year, supporting national employment and sustainable economic growth. The Minister affirmed the continued cooperation between the Ministry of Labor, the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and private sector institutions to expand job opportunities and meet the labor market needs. And the Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor Yusuf Khalaf announced that Bahrain Real Estate Investment Company Idama has added 200 job vacancies for citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to each registered job seeker by the end of the year. The positions cover a variety of fields, and job seekers registered with the Ministry of Labor can apply for them through the National Employment Platform. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor Yusuf Khalaf also announced that Amana Health Care Bahrain has added 200 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year. Also, the Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor Yusuf Khalaf announced that Alba has added 60 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year in support of national employment efforts and sustainable economic growth. Also, the Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor Yusuf Khalaf announced that Array has added 50 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The move follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year. Also, the Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor Yusuf Khalaf announced that Beyond added 150 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform as part of continuing national efforts to provide quality job opportunities for the citizens and residents and enable them to effectively contribute to the development process. This step comes within the framework of implementing the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to offer 3 job opportunities to every job seeker registered with the ministry before the end of this year, strengthening national efforts to support employment and sustainable economic development. Also, the Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor, Yusuf bin Abdel Hussein Khalaf, announced that Al-Dha'in has added 40 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. This follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year, supporting national employment efforts and sustainable economic growth. The available positions covers a variety of fields, and job seekers registered with the Ministry of Labor can apply through the National Employment Platform. The Minister of Information, Dr. Ramzan bin Abdullah Al-Naimi, praised the speech delivered by His Majesty the King during the opening of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term, affirming that it embodied noble visions and directives to develop the national media system in the line with the digital changes and to enhance freedom of opinion and expression. He expressed happiness that the words of His Majesty represent a comprehensive national roadmap reflecting His Majesty's aspirations for a more prosperous future and affirming confidence in the Bahraini citizen as the center of development and the cornerstone of the kingdom's era of prosperity. The minister pointed out that the royal speech outlined clear features to consolidate national values, reaffirmed the approach based on consultation and popular participation, and move towards further development in various fields. He also appreciated what the speech included in terms of praise for the active role of the legislative authority and the direct support it received from His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The minister stressed that the integration between the executive and legislative authorities embody the Bahraini model of joint national work to achieve the citizens' aspirations and enhance national achievements. The Minister emphasized the Ministry of Information's commitment to continue enhancing the purposeful media message that reflects the values of tolerance, openness, and national loyalty, affirming that the Ministry will continue to develop various media sectors in accordance with the visions of His Majesty the King, with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The Minister of Youth Affairs, Rowan Tawfiqi, inaugurated the Al-Manara Art and Culture Space at the Muharraq Youth Center in the presence of the Secretary General of the National Initiative for Agricultural Development, Sheikha Maram bint Isa Al Khalifa, as well as a number of artists and young creatives. This marked a new step in the Ministry's efforts to provide spaces that inspire young people and nurture their creativity, offering them opportunities to engage with art and culture in a dynamic, interactive setting. In her remarks, the Minister said that Al-Manara reflects the Ministry's vision of connecting the youth with the arts and providing a platform that encourages self-expression and creative growth. The initiative seeks to foster artistic appreciation, highlight emerging Bahraini talent, and build a creative community that connects with the youth, with established artists and professionals. The Minister emphasized that such initiatives play an important role in enriching Bahrain's cultural landscape and promoting innovation as a driver of sustainable development. Bahrain's pavilion, titled Connecting Seas, has won the Gold Award for Best Architecture and Landscape in the Self-Built Pavilions under 1,500 square meters category at the Expo 2025 Osaka in Japan. The award, presented by the Bureau International des Expositions, recognizes excellence in pavilion design, creativity, and sustainability. The announcement was made during the official award ceremony, which was attended by commissioners general and representatives of participating countries. The President of the Bahrain Authority for Culture and Antiquities, BACA, and Commissioner General of the Bahrain Pavilion, Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, said the award is a testimony to the dedication of Team Bahrain in showcasing the Kingdom's vision of blending heritage with innovation. He added that this achievement reflects Bahrain's position as a hub of cultural and architectural creativity of the region. The pavilion embodies sustainable architecture and enriches the visitor experience through sensory journeys that highlight Bahrain's history and civilizational depth. He expressed pride in the National Pavilion at Expo Osaka, affirming that it is an example of sustainable architecture. The BACA president also said that it plays a role in enhancing the visitor experience at the Expo through the sensory experiences it offers, introducing the world to Bahrain's history and cultural depth. The Supreme Council for Environment has announced the lifting of the ban on catching kingfish and the lifting of the ban on displaying and trading the fish in markets and public places for marketing or sale effective 15th of October, following the end of the designated ban period. The Council said that the seasonal fishing ban was implemented under Decree 20 of 2002 on the regulation, exploitation and protection of marine wealth, in line with the resolutions of the 23rd meeting of the GCC Agricultural Cooperation Committee, which outlined measures to protect kingfish stocks. The Supreme Council of Environment affirmed that the ban on catching kingfish during the breeding season, which was from August 15th to October 15th, aims to enhance fish stocks by regulating fishing practices and preventing the depletion of the fisheries, thereby maintaining ecological balance in marine environments. The Supreme Council of Environment commended the cooperation and the national sense of responsibility demonstrated by fishermen throughout the ban period. They also urged all parties to continue complying with the existing regulatory measures and to support efforts aimed at preserving and sustaining Bahrain's marine